main focus was the use of 3D remote sensing data to improve national forest inventories. This data type is very important because it, in addition to a picture, to color, it describes the structure of the forest. So therefore, you get much better relationships with very interesting variables such as tree height and timber volume, basal area, these things, than if you just look on a 2D dimensional image. So first of all, we used the network to support a scientific conference that we organized. So that was the 100 years anniversary of the Norwegian National Forest Inventory. And we were very happy to have more than 200 guests here and or participants here in Norway in 2019. These 200 participants, they were mostly from Europe, but also from the US and Canada and even from Asia. We had a few participants. And the workshops, they were more Nordic centered, I would say. So these were mostly from the participating countries. And then we also invited, of course, the remaining countries of the SNS network. That means the Baltic states. So usually these workshops, we had between 40 and 50 participants, and they were held in each of the countries that were the main participants. So once a year, and we had different topics there. The nice thing about these conferences is that they are very, well, it's a familiar, it's small and you can openly talk and you have a lot of time also between the talks, breaks and so on. So where you can actually interact more and go into details of what people do and learn from each other. So I found that very useful, and also the feedback there was always very positive. I would say that for me, this is one of the most important things of this workshop, that we kept knowing and informing each other about new things and ongoing things. And then there were also 2 project proposals that we wrote and were successful. So there was one called Invent in the AeraGas funding scheme, and one that just this year got funded under Horizon Europe. So one of these papers was about the current use and future use of 3D remote sensing data in forest inventories. And the other paper was a response to a study by the European Research Center, JRC, on, well, where we thought they maybe didn't use remote sensing in a good way. And it was a Nature paper that got a lot of impact, was about seemingly increasing harvest levels, which we thought were actually not increasing at all. I mean, there are a lot of similarities and there are a lot of differences, and it's the differences you learn from. If we didn't have such a project, I guess it would have been, the progress would have been slower. So that these direct contacts are extremely important, I think. In the research about how to use remote sensing data in national forest inventories, it has improved how people think about that. So So I think we have learned from each other and managed to maybe include new ideas and new methods in our products that we produce, in our forest maps that we produce, and the estimates that we make. We were so lucky to get another car project. It's called INFOBIOM, and it's this time it's still also about remote sensing, but it's more more towards biodiversity and biodiversity indicators. How can we in national forest inventories measure biodiversity in a way that is useful for ecologists that actually should use these measurements, or that we think would need these measurements, and to make sure that we can answer the important questions of the future and deal with the challenges that we face.